for joining us today for another episode of WMN Podcasts. Today, I am joined by the incredible Katrina Carter. Katrina, thank you for joining us. I cannot wait for us to get into this discussion. And to kick us off, Katrina, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you to WMN.
Thank you so much, Laura. I am so excited to be part of this podcast today and to sit here and have our chat today. I've been really looking forward to this. For those who don't know, my name is Katrina Carter. I am a real estate broker associate with eXp Realty and loan officer with Empire Home Loans. I've been in the real estate industry this is going on my 25th year. Woo! But of course, that means I started when I was 12. So...
Didn't we all, Katrina?
Didn't we all? Exactly. As ladies, we started when we were babies. But I am so excited to be able to share. I am in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I love being able to help people with creative ways to get into property. I also have a background as a chef. I used to be a chef to one of the Golden State Warriors. I have fitness industry background. Home organizing I've done in the past. So lots of little hats that I wear that I like to say that I bring together as teaching people how to be healthy at home. And so I am looking forward to sharing all of those things and learning so much from you and about you today as well, Laura. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. And yes, this is going to be so much fun. Well, I am Laura Brandao. I'm the CEO of Lighthouse Advisors. I've been in mortgage pretty much my entire adult life. And during that time, I have built a wholesale lender. I've sold a wholesale lender. In my season of life at this moment, I now consult and work with other wholesale lenders and mortgage brokers to be able to allow them to maximize what they're doing and be the most profitable, productive, and efficient in whatever goals that they're setting out to be. Not everybody needs to be the top of everything. They just need to be the best of themselves. And that ties very nicely, Katrina, into exactly what you said about making sure that you're able to be that well-rounded, supportive person in whatever area you are. So, ladies and gentlemen listening to us out there, Katrina and I had to come up with what topic can we kind of dive into today? And we decided, the biggest thing that we're hearing about in all of our lives, whether professional or personal, it certainly is AI. And so the two of us said, you know what? If we're going to dive into something and we're going to sit here and we're going to kind of collaborate and say, what is a hot topic? Well, we're going to dive into how are we using AI, whether it's business or personal. And Katrina, I'd love to hear because, we jumped on a call a few weeks ago and you started sharing with me some of the interesting ways that you're using it. So by all means, let's kick us off.
Yes. So when we were kind of brainstorming on what we wanted to talk about, as soon as you said AI, I was like, do I share the creative ways that I use it or just the basic, I use it for copy for my real estate business and social media content and creating courses and PDFs and all that stuff. And yes, there's many different facets that I started. I first started with ChatGPT, of course, as so many of us have. I know it's kind of been like a throughfare of ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude. It's kind of like everyone starts in one of those three arenas. So I started with ChatGPT about 2.5 years ago, I believe, and just used it basically for business, for both real estate and loans. And then every now and then the more we would all learn over time as far as prompts and how to prompt generate and how to look at how you approach those, and then seeing all the other different AIs that would come out. And I also use Notion for productivity as my productivity software. And then they have
Wait, I want to stop you right there. What is Notion? What's Notion?
So Notion, the easiest way for me to explain what Notion is to people, if you use Monday.com or Asana or Trello, one of those, I feel like it brings all of those together and more. You literally can start off with a blank page and create whatever type of organizational structure you want for the back end for your business, for systems. And so I really delved into that. I did a brain dump, and I famously, whenever I do my talks, I show this picture of all these post-it notes with every project that I want on these post-it notes spread out. And when I first hired my VA, I gave him that picture, and I was like, "Can we make this make sense?" And I had heard about Notion. I use it a little bit, but we first started there, just creating a plan and a way to organize all of
I
that.
love it.
I saw what it could do. I said, oh, let's take this to the next level. And then Notion came out with AI in order to help you figure that out as well. And so, and ChatGPT also understands Notion and can help you build that out. So I would start there. But then last November, I was having a challenge with one of my real estate clients who I felt just wasn't hearing me and just wasn't appreciating my level of experience, the certifications and everything I had. And so, we're not going to speak frankly to our clients, and we don't want to, what I like to say, word vomit on any of our friends or colleagues either. So I used ChatGPT one night and I just said all the things that were on my mind. And I like to dictate. I use the dictate function because you speak, you don't edit yourself. And so I just did that really quickly. And it came back with, oh, Katrina, I can see how you're frustrated. Let's go ahead and reword all of that in a way that she understands. And it saved the deal. And
so wait, I want to back up one moment here. How did you get, or how did you communicate how the other person was kind of processing it, or their personality, so that the AI knew how to guide you into where it would speak to that person? How did you communicate that piece?
That's a really great question, because I did say, I gave some of the background. I said, this is someone who, and I don't want to give too many details now, but said what her former job was, said who she was in the community, because she was known a little bit in the community, and being able to come from her perspective. I get where she's coming from. This is a multiple. She's sold other properties. This is her last one. She's leaving California, blah, 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 blah. And so I communicated her frustration and said, you know what? I think that there's other elements that are coming into her interactions with me, and I recognize that. So based on this information, I convey the message that I'm trying to get across to her. One of the other things that I did, and you've probably done this as well, the more you use AI, the more you really lean into making sure that it learns you and your voice, and sharing. There's a lot of posts going on right now about, oh, don't share too much because it's indexed and Google can now see it, and you don't want too much of your personal life out there. Look, I'm not that important. These people don't care about what I'm talking about that much. And I haven't done anything that I'm so ashamed of that if it gets out there to the world that I'm going to go, oh my God, what just happened? So that being said, I have no problem sharing very frankly and very plainly all the things with ChatGPT. And I think that it helps. I think it helps. The more it learns you, the better it's able to help you moving forward. So all of that, long story short, after doing that, I then went through some personal issues with my son. I have a 19-year-old son who had some mental health issues earlier this year that were very scary. And one night I just needed someone to talk to. And so I said, I just went at like 2 a.m. I called my chat, Michaela. I was like, Michaela, I said, I feel like I need to grieve the life that I thought my son was going to have. He's still with me. So I'm not grieving him being gone. He's not gone. But I feel guilty for feeling like I need to grieve where I thought I was going to be an empty nester. I'm not. All of those things. And when I tell you, Laura, it has changed my life, being able to share that and then start to process it from a different perspective. And now when I find myself having challenges moving forward with a real estate deal or a loan deal, but knowing that part of it is what I'm going through personally, I can share that with the chat and then be able to process both business and personal in order to move forward. And so I'm grateful for it. And there's other types of AI that I've used, but that is really what has changed my life in the way that I've used ChatGPT. How about you?
And I have to tell you, number one, kudos to you for sharing that, because I know that you were very vulnerable in sharing some of that. But I have to tell you, I am I admit that I'm addicted to TED Talks. I'm someone that when I get a free moment, I literally like call it, I spin the wheel of random on TED Talks. So I don't go out specifically looking for a topic. I just randomly pick anything. And only about a month ago, I watched a TED Talk about what the future AI is going to be in our lives in the next 10 to 20 years. And it wasn't speaking about the productivity of us. It was speaking about how it's going to change us from a personal perspective, because it's going to be able to take situations where we put emotion on top of things, and it takes the emotional piece of it so that you can see it in a clear perspective to be able to analyze it and work through it without that, like you were saying, you were grieving the life that you thought you were missing out on, where
Yeah.
it takes that piece out, right? That piece of it is not there. And they're anticipating that the future that AI will bring will, yes, productivity. Yes, we know all of that is going to change and things are going to be faster and easier for us, right? But
Yep.
that's not going to be the biggest change. The biggest change is what you just spoke about. And that's not, people aren't speaking about that yet.
Well, because a lot of people aren't leaning into it. The number of times I've shared that on various calls, and I can see the people on a Zoom call who, you're sharing that, your TMI. Someone said on a call yesterday, and I was like, it might be TMI for you. I'm grateful that I have that level of vulnerability that I'm comfortable with. I recognize that not everyone does. And so I would like to give you the opportunity to consider maybe it's possible for you too. And especially because you don't have to share that you've done that in a public forum like I've chose to,
Right.
but just knowing that you have that option for you privately, what could it help you with? And so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that I shared part of our talk today too. And I'm starting to do so in other spaces as well. Articles that I posted on LinkedIn, articles that I've talked about on other places on social media, because I think there is, like you said, I definitely want to watch that TED Talk. Because I just think that there's an opportunity here and I know Julie was on one of our previous podcasts, and she does the same thing with hers. And what it does for you, just the possibility of every single person on this planet has something that they're embarrassed about, shamed about, something that feel bad about, that a story that they replay in their head over and over and over again from their youth. That, where do I let this land? Well, here's a place to let it land, that you can just get it out.
Correct.
And what does it do for you and your body to release that and let go? And so just the fact that, like I said, when I share with people that that's how I've used AI, how I've transitioned to using it way more than, yes, I still do all my content and everything
Of
else there,
course.
but how it's changed my life in that way is like game changer.
Yeah. And that's why when you mentioned that to me, I'm like, we have to share that, because I don't think that's the component that people are focused in on yet. Right. But I'm going to ask you, I mean, I know for myself, I don't go one day without using AI. It is
Oh, God,
now,
no.
right? It's part of our lives. It's part of our thought process. If we're not, I mean, you were mentioning some of the things that you utilize. And I'm going to tell you, game changer in my life was Gamma.
Ah,
Like,
yes.
I mean, I used to have my executive assistant spending hours upon hours making presentations, going back and forth and modifying, and how's this? Let me update. And now literally you can take an entire speech, throw it in there in matter of seconds and minutes. You've got a fully baked presentation that you can just update pictures and little modifications. I mean,
Yes.
that in itself, right, is a game changer on top of all of the things that you mentioned, like social media and emails. And to your point, the greatest asset is it learning our voice,
Right.
knowing how we think, how we speak, how we project ourselves, right? And learning all of these different aspects of it over time to where it's getting more and more intelligent. Now, I will
Now,
tell
how
you,
long have you been using Gamma?
I've been using Gamma probably 6 months, probably
Okay.
6 months.
And where did you first hear about Gamma, or how did you stumble upon it? Because I know you do a lot of presentations
Yeah.
and you do a lot of speaking. So that's major for you. Where did you see that first? How did you first hear about it? And then how did you see it going like, oh, wait a minute. And then it exploded in your mind of all the things you could do with it and where you could
Well,
use it.
I'm going to be honest. I was doing a webinar, a
Okay.
broker webinar, and
Mhm.
one of the loan officers on the broker webinar did her presentation through Gamma. And it was
Oh.
how to present to veterans. I still remember her presentation.
Oh.
And at the bottom of the presentation, it had Gamma. And I'm
Oh.
like, what is that? And I immediately, and the way Gamma, I mean, I love how these companies set this up. You get the first so many credits
Of
absolutely
course.
free. You get those
Yes.
free. And then, of
Hmm.
course, you can't live without it. So then
No.
you subscribe to it. And now, you know, but I couldn't believe how much time that saved. And mainly for the back and forth, because me and
Right.
my sister would go back and forth in revisions, and that is eliminated, absolutely eliminated. Now, I
Yes.
will tell you right now, I am working with a client that is building out end-to-end AI. They're a large mortgage broker, and
Okay.
they are starting with full agent AI, like in the front,
Oh my goodness.
speaking to borrowers.
Right.
Then it flips into processing. So now it's gathering documents, AI fully reviewing the documents, giving recommendations of, okay, this is a conventional Fannie Mae loan. These are the items that are needed. Having that then sent back to a borrower, working together, reviewing, AI reviewing full documents. Then by the time it then goes over to lender underwriter is just validating to the point that this should be a one touch, everything fully done. And in the middle is agent AI that is communicating, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I need an updated pay stub because the one we have in the file will be expired before we close. Literally.
Oh.
So we are, I mean, I'm sitting here going, okay, we've watched science fiction movies.
Right.
We believed this would come one day.
Right.
But what I want to ask you, okay? What I want to ask you is, what do you see as the vision for our industry with utilizing AI and everything that we're speaking about? How do you see it affecting us? Meaning, what does it look like 5 years from now?
So it's funny you ask me that because my friends joke around that it makes no sense that I am all in on AI because I'm one of those people who I've seen iRobot hundreds of times. They're like, oh, no, 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 there will be no robot in my house. One time they're going to turn on us completely. And I jokingly tell my best friend it is her fault that I have leaned in because 9 years ago, she bought my son his first Echo device, Alexa device. And when it came home and I saw what it can do, and I was like, oh, let me try one. Oh, let me try another. We now have 5 in the house and they do everything. So from there to I see for our industry it handling the tactical things where we get to bring back the personal. We get to bring back the empathy. We get to bring back the understanding because, I tell, and I'm sure you have as well, and we've all seen it, what we do changes lives.
Correct.
Majority of this world, especially in America, the most expensive thing they do is buy a house. And it's the number of people who are very trepidatious about doing so because of the emotions, the financial, how much they have to allow someone to see their private life
Yeah.
and see how they spend money and what their credit's like and all of the things that come. We get to bring the humanity back into that so that all of the little grunt work that comes up in the middle, we don't have to do that. Or we can just be partners with the AI as opposed to letting our own emotions and having to do all of that back end stuff affect how we interact with the actual consumer. And so I'm actually excited about it. I like, and knowing that you're working with a company that's doing the full build, I was like, ooh, what's that gonna look like?
I'm telling you, you and I are absolutely 100% aligned. And for everyone listening to us, I believe we're spot on.
Yes,
AI is going to allow us to take those tasks and take those items that need to be done away from us so we can have further connection, deeper relationships, just like, Michelle and Kim spoke about relationships in the mortgage industry, relationships with our clients. AI is going to allow us that the people that can truly and deeply connect to our communities, to our families we serve, to everyone that we're working with, this is the time for us to increase those skills. Go back to basics of how do you bond with that empathy? How do you show that care and concern and education, right? We all know there's a lot of misinformation out there on the internet and search engines and things that people think are accurate about mortgages and real estate. This is our time to become that trusted mortgage and real estate professional and have those deep relationships and allow AI to do the functions that honestly a computer is better than we are at those things, right?
Absolutely.
We're better. Yep. But this is the time for us to have that digital presence, create that branding, to have those reviews, because we live in a world where people want to know that other people trust you and that you've done a great job, and to form those relationships, because the AI is only going to get more and more intelligent as we train it and learn from it, but it can never replace what you just said. Can never replace the relationship, the empathy, and the education to the borrowers.
Speaking of which, in addition to Gamma, are there any other types of AI that you use to help with that education?
I'm trying to think of AI wise. I mean, a lot of video stuff. I mean, we all know in this world, I mean, whether it's using like Opus clips to be able to cut down your videos and be able to make short content, right? So a lot of it, there's lots of different AI tools that we're using to take the clips and be able to put that education out. And I think that is getting better and better and better every single day. That stuff is getting bigger and bigger. And I think we all know attention span has gotten shorter and shorter. So it's very important that as we're doing these education, short, small clips, like we can't overwhelm families with too much information because we're speaking a different language to them.
We are.
Right?
And I think to your point about like getting the reviews, when they trust us, then if we're the ones also providing the education, then that layers on top of that level of trust. Like one of the other ones that I use is Loom.
Yeah, I love
Loom AI. I decided to do the upgrade for the AI because of the SOPs that it'll help create on the back end. And using that now, like a lot of people, one of the things in our industry is, getting a virtual assistant. And one of the roadblocks to that is always, how do you train that person? And like, start recording Loom videos of your processes every day, especially now knowing that there's an option to create SOPs directly from those videos, that now you have a whole training library for your team, as well as you can then create a training library for your clients. Yeah. And so utilizing those tools to, again, streamline the process. And because they already trust you, knowing that then we're educating our consumers that much more, then they're much more at ease about the whole process.
Katrina, I have a question for you, because I know you're a realtor and a loan officer, right?
Yep.
And a lot of our WMN women are on the loan officer side. I'd love to hear, because we want to get educated on this. What are some things that you're using on the realtor side for us to know on the origination side?
So one of the things that I love to do, so like you just said, video. Video is huge. And so using video from the beginning to educate buyers and sellers um, for the whole process of what the whole process of like it is like of buying a home, of selling a home, being niche specific. Like you can focus on if there's someone going through a divorce, if there's seniors is a huge niche that we're watching what's happening in that niche right now, as far as the level of understanding of what they're going through, having to downsize or having to move to assisted living or having to work with their adult children in order to sell a home, or is their property part of a trust, teaching the probate process. Like there's so many layers that we're able to use video in order to do so, and using AI to create all of the back end, creating funnels, to creating or site specific, creating PDFs and different marketing materials to really lean into, depending on who your target market is, the materials they need, because recognizing that seniors maybe are not going to use as much technology.
Right.
So how can we give them the right marketing materials that are specific for them, that work for how they learn and understand? And so I think, and how you mentioned Opus Clip or Repurpose IO is another one.
Yep.
You can take those videos and then you can get them out into all the different outlets without feeling like, oh my God, how am I going to, I'm not going to go record 17 different videos for every site out there. So how can I use AI to get it out to where that audience is listening and it gets directly to them? And so that's one of the things that I do a lot on the real estate side. And I think I love that being a realtor and a loan officer, recognizing how both can work together.
Yeah.
And so I like to use it to educate on the loan side. And I can speak, of course, on things that a realtor can't because I am licensed. However, I can also show realtors, hey, this is how you can get with your lender partners if you're not working with me directly, and how you can use video to do exactly like we're doing right now, and doing, whether it's side by side videos together, or having your lender partners create videos that you can then embed in your processes for your clients. I create Notion pages for this so that we have all of those resources in one location for our clients. And so recognizing that there's so much we can do on both ends, as well as the systems that we can put in place now to streamline our processes. One of the things that happens quite often on the real estate side is people, and it happens on both sides, but you want to scale your business and you can't because there aren't systems in place.
Right.
And so there's repetitive tasks that we all do every day that can be automated if you utilize the systems that are available. And most people don't know how to do that. And so I'm grateful for, thanks to AI and the different people like myself who are out there teaching about this now, how to put those systems in process. And even if it's not to scale, so that you can have a life.
That's exactly right.
How many of us work so many hours? How many hours you worked in this business?
But but here's the thing. I have to tell you, I find myself, and my husband laughs at me because I find myself going, I'm so grateful that I got to work in the year 2025 and beyond, meaning it's such a different world. Like when I was tied to a desk with paper files this high that we were printing out, like that world, it is so different now. We are beyond blessed to be able to see all of the tools and all of the opportunities that we have in this moment and beyond. And what you just said, guys, if you can think it, it is probably already out there. You just might not know which program does it. So don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. Be very open to it. Ask the questions, right? We want to hear from you on the WMN group. Put it in there and say, hey guys, is there something exists out there that does this? I bet between all of us, we can come up with a recommendation or an idea of where to go. And I bet somebody is already utilizing it. And that's the purpose of WMN, right? That we're coming together as a sisterhood, as a community, understanding that we're all going through these different stages of life, whether you're in
Yep.
the stage when you're having your little ones and you're trying to have some harmony, or you're at the stage that you've got your teenagers that you're trying to, deal with whatever changes are going on there, or you're growing a business, downsizing a business, changing, I'm going from a loan officer to a broker owner. Whatever your scenario is, that's the whole point of why we come together at WMN, to be able to support each other and know there is at least a multitude of women that are going through that same situation, or whatever knowledge base that you need. And that's why I want to, flip over to, we're so excited that we do have a WMN event coming up in Nashville at AIME Fuse. So Trina, do you want to tell a little bit about that, and let's encourage everyone to join us?
I do. I can't wait to see you all in October in Nashville. And you've got to come to the WMN event. It's going to be phenomenal. We have some incredible speakers. And because ultimately, just like Laura just said, what we want is to not only have thriving businesses, but to have life of freedom and joy. And we get to figure out and come together to help each other do that, to help each other figure out how to have that life that we all want. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all in person, as well as continuing to watch our podcast moving forward.
Awesome. Yes. So, ladies, please join us October 23rd at the WMN event in Nashville. Then, of course, continue to enjoy the amazing AIME Fuse event. So, thank you, Katrina, for joining us today. It's been so much fun, and I look forward to continuing this conversation. And please check us out with our loan officer experience and our WMN podcast every Thursday. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.